Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Art of Game over here at Cabbit, and that's our live audience there.
Yeah, it's filmed in front of a studio audience.
Yes. So this is where we game masters we share tips, we share tricks, stories, and we also debate stuff. And today is probably our most controversial episode ever. And who knows whose fault it is? I don't know, but I think it's his idea. So, Odie, why don't you say?
Okay, well, it's probably the least controversial topic actually we're ever going to have. But so this is more of a discussion episode. It's not may or may not result in the useful GM tips unless Greg has something to discuss. But so recently, as part of the controversy of the open gaming license, there was, or in the last few years, so Wizards of the Coast started developing a virtual tabletop. Interestingly, it's not their first attempt, but so the virtual tabletop was getting rave reviews. All of the YouTubers were trying it. Celebrities were trying it. It was like, in the RPG space, and people were just like really excited to see it come out. And then it died a very quiet death, where they just decided one day to fire everybody and not support it. But what was interesting for me about this whole thing, aside from just wasting these millions of dollars they spent on the development, which seems like a tragedy, they also had planned to introduce an AI dungeon master into the virtual tabletop. And that I think was the controversial part, because the AI dungeon master basically was an attempt to turn Dungeons and Dragons into a video game and make it a solo play experience, rather than solve the problem of like, let's create a product that can create good game masters. Instead of doing that, let's invent a game master and put all the GMs out of business. But then the death of that virtual tabletop is also the death of that plan. And so I thought it would be an interesting discussion point of like this whole thing of like, what they were trying to do, and then it failed. But like, I don't think it's gone for good. I think someone else is going to try to do it. But it's not good for the industry.
I think I have a few thoughts on this. One, from a purely abstract standpoint about using an AI as a GM, I've done it multiple times with just a chatbot with other people, and we just said what each of us did. It was terrible. It's not creative as you'd expect. It tries to just mold itself to be basically whatever it thinks you're trying to do in a weird way. It's not like there's no like conflict, what you need in any good story.
No.
And so I think, and the conflict that does happen is just like dumb, random, like, oh, something pops out. So it's not good. At the current state it is right now, it's not good. But that being said, if you gave it a module, right, an actual well-defined module, and you just use an AI to kind of fill in the gaps when they try to go off a little bit, that will get into limitations depending on how far they go off, I guess. But maybe, I don't know. Even then, probably not great. So I think if they were trying to do that, they were going to fail horribly, is kind of my point.
But even if they're doing that scenario you were just discussing, it's still a video game, because you could only do what the thing is programmed for, right? Like, because I've seen the same thing you're talking about too, because like the Neebs Gaming YouTube channel, they have a video where they played one of these AI game master games, and it literally took them 5 minutes to break it.
It's not great.
Like one of the guys was just at one point I think he says like, I F him in the butt. Like he literally just the most ridiculous thing you can think of. And the thing got so confused with what these people were doing, it couldn't even tell what part of the dungeon they were in anymore. Yeah.
Well, that's the problem. There's only so much context, memory it can hold on to with a model. Yeah. But I will say you can use AI in a useful way, which is if you can feed into it sort of what's happened in your campaign so far, you can say, okay, now you're going to be the GM and I'm going to be a player. And maybe it'll give you some ideas for running it yourself, but just with understanding that it's going to be terrible. It's not going to be a good experience for you when you do that. But maybe it's just like a research thing, maybe. I don't know. As far as Wizards of the Coast VTT, I actually heard decent things, but my problem with it is it's the same as what's that one that your friend likes who was on the show? Tailwind, is it? No, Tailspire. Yeah. I that's fine for some people. I would rather not play D&D ever again than have to use that VTT. Just my personal preference, because it is so much work to get that crap going. And it's like, that's my problem with all VTTs is if you want to really get their programming to help you, it's a lot of work to set up. My favorite VTT is the one that's closest to just playing in real life, because you just have some basic tokens in a map and move around, right?
Well, one of the things with Tailspire, though, is there's a lot of people using it, and so there's a library of maps. So in theory, you could just download all these maps that people have made and just build your adventure around those, because there's always going to be some crazy psycho who's going to spend his entire week doing nothing but building maps. But then you have to have a computer that can run it, right?
You have to have a computer that can run. And by the way, Wizards of the Coast VTT was known to kill gaming computers. Like, it was something weird with it.
Yeah, I heard about that. They never finished optimizing it. Like it needed. It just wasn't.
It needed optimizations.
Yeah. Mark, you've been a bit silent. You have two people with very extreme opinions on both sides. You have a moderate opinion.
I love AI, by the way, and I'm saying it's not good for DMing. And I love AI. I use it every day on different stuff.
And
I didn't have that much experience with the VTT of D&D, or I didn't read up that much about it. I just don't really like VTTs that much. I just don't feel like you need. I mean, it's not the end of the world if you use it, but I feel like if you can't just have a piece of paper and friends around a table and tell a story, then I feel like there's something missed there. That's something magical.
Like Owlbear Rodeo. It feels like that. Like, because everything you can do in that is basically what you'd have on a real table in front of you.
Yeah, it just gives you basic tokens to use, so everybody's on the same, especially if you're tactical combat.
Yeah, it's anyone can grab anyone else's token and move it, just like in real life.
Yeah. Well, when we were playing the Star Wars campaign, I really appreciated the VTT experience that you did have, Greg. I mean, like, I know you were trying different things, and some things were, like, easier to do than others, but
you liked Foundry?
I appreciated the effort, like the fact that
okay.
Well, I mean, like we had.
That's my problem with it, the effort.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but there was a point where you were just drawing a map and saying, "Here we go, boom, 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 good, done." Yeah. And because you don't have to be that complicated, like, because if you were on the table with your friends, quite literally, like for example, we had a scenario one time where it was the end of a Star Wars campaign, and we had to have a battle in an engine room, and I literally grabbed 2 soda cans. Okay, these are the warp cores, and then I just grabbed whatever junk we had around and just assembled a scenario, and then we just put the miniatures down and went at it, right? And like, you don't have to get very complicated to have it, as long as it all the physical things kind of like, okay, well, this is a building, this book is now the table, this is the hill, like the players can fill it in with their imagination, right? But yeah, I did appreciate very much the maps that you did find that for us to use that with the tokens, the digital tokens that looked like the place we were supposed to be, like, which is why I like look battle maps so much that I have, that I'll use those, with people. But I just take pictures and post them. So
it's funny you say that, because I don't use battle maps in real life, really. I have them right there and I never use them. I always just use a whiteboard. When I use real minis, obviously, but when it comes to the map, I just use a whiteboard mostly.
Well,
you have to have the right one, right? You have to want makes sense for the story.
Well, I have this huge collection of HeroClix maps that I picked up, and the Mage Knight ones, of course, that were precursor to it. They're all wonderful, really well designed. They look amazing, right? And they'd be perfect. The problem is they're all too big. Because they're designed for this game at a certain scale, but they don't necessarily fit the table, and you have to unfold them and store. They take up a lot of space and all things. But then the ones that these like map books that people have. Yeah, but then these map books, I mean, they're a little bigger, but they're easier to use, though, right? Like, and they fit your gaming table better. And even though all the miniatures we use are at the HeroClix scale, because like these things have huge bases, you can still put them on there and just, I eyeball it. Like each disc is 5 feet or something, right?
Yeah.
And so you don't have to have the
these
same.
Too.
Yeah, exactly.
This is what you're talking about, right?
That's
like these.
Exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's fine, but my problem is I'm never going to be like, oh, here's the exact map I need. Like it's too much effort to have to look through a book to find what you need, to my opinion.
Yeah.
Like usually for me.
Yeah, I don't really have that problem. So I mean,
Maybe I
it's
just have
probably a
bad
question of like,
indexing. I don't remember.
well, but that's fine. I mean, well, it's kind of like there's no the reason why the three of us are here is because we all have a different approach to it, right? Like we're not going to do this all the
Yeah.
same, right? So and like each of us has different skills that we bring to the table, and these skills are not necessarily the same, right? Like the
Yeah.
things
Yeah.
that I do well, you do well, Greg, are not going to be the same skill set. But it doesn't mean that we're not both bringing a good experience. You know,
I've
for our
actually never
players.
seen Marks pull out a battle map. I've put up a battle map for him before, but I've never seen him pull out a battle map. So yeah, we definitely have three different approaches.
Yeah, not too often.
Yeah, we do. But I
and
love these
in
battle
person,
like,
because I game with kids. When I say kids, like 15, 20 years old, they range. But um, I use some like D&D terrain thing where they just have, like just squares with, basic stuff. And then I got these little wooden tokens of different that have engraved in them different like classes and monsters and stuff. And I've started using those a little bit whenever there's a big
I'll be right
combat.
back. There's a cat stuck in a bookcase.
Oh,
okay,
because they
no
like
problem.
that combat element, and they're newer, so it's harder for them to always imagine how it works. So
one of the things I used to do, and I actually put I actually put this in my RPG with a whole page, but I actually took graph paper, measured out grids with thicker ink that matched the miniatures we're using, and just print off a bunch of those, and would just grab crayons and markers and just scribble on that for the maps.
Yeah. Before we did that, we were doing like I would just scribble something on a piece of paper, and sometimes if they were having trouble keeping track where they're at, I would get little squares of paper and write their name on it or something, or they would draw a little picture, and that's what we do. So we evolved.
Well,
but
yeah, but I think that's interesting because we're talking about the in-person experience, right? And I'd say I don't know the statistics on it, but it feels to me like probably a good half of all the games now have migrated online. Like I strongly prefer the in-person experience, and I would absolutely do.
Yeah.
Oh, it's got to be. But for me, even though I love the in-person experience and would prefer it hand over fist, like it's just not going to happen anymore. Like it's the only time I'm going to have an in-person game is at a con. Like I've got too many players around the country now, and like
we're doing hand
why
over
is that
fist.
funny?
Hand over fist. It's also kung fu thing.
Oh, well, I would do it too, but I can't because I've got my technology problems. But
I don't even know where your hands are at. It's okay. We don't need. No. But I think going back to the AI thing, I tried that once with ChatGPT out of curiosity. It did run me through like a little like, oh, you're going to this cave and you're, I was like a thief and snuck up and I killed an orc, and then it just evolved from there. At first I was like, oh, this isn't too bad. Then it went crazy after a while. So
and it does become a video game.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things I tried to do one time is I have the story I wanted to do as a choose your own adventure for my RPG, and I tried to write it because I was remembering the solo modules from back in the day, and I had played one of them, and that was a lot of fun. But it was really hard writing a murder mystery as a solo module, and I ended up stopping because it was but that was difficult, to do.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah,
I played a few solo ones with Call of Cthulhu, and they make some books, and then but that's a growing subgenre, at least in indie stuff.
Yeah,
there's solo everything, solo Shadow of Dark, solo every game out there.
Yeah, but even those, they don't use AI because AI. The problem is AI is just too agreeable. Like it'll just try to like do whatever you want to do, and that's doesn't work for D&D.
Well, I think the strength of the solo ones, I think that what interests people is that they can journal and stuff. So it's almost like storytelling with training wheels in a way, right? It's I think that's the appeal for it for a lot of people, or supercharged.
I was trying to have like a series of choices the player makes and build the narrative and then like specific events might have like a code, and you use that to kind of pick the ending scenes. But like you'd have different directions you could take the story, and then try to like build like explore this murder mystery. But like it bogged down heavily in terms of, there was so much to write, and also the combat didn't work easily, and I don't remember how it worked when I was a kid.
Yeah, I mean, did you play those? Did you read those books like Lone Wolf, Adventures of Lone Wolf, or what it was called? Those are really good ones.
No, well, like I read a few Choose Your Own Adventures, and I played the dwarf solo module when I was a kid, but it was just trying to experience was difficult.
Lone Wolf is really cool because it's like Choose Your Own Fate, but you do have some game stats that you can pick, and that can choose what things you can do, and then you can, and then the way the roll was like you had a random number chart, and you close your eyes and do this, and then hit, and that's your you pick your number. So it was kind of neat.
So going back to the original topic, I do think there's some things that really hurt WotC as well, which is they made this VTT. They started to make it during COVID, right? When D&D was really taking off, especially online play. And then that died down. Then they had Baldur's Gate 3, which was an amazing thing for them. It got so many people into D&D again. But then people realized it's not the video, it's not the technical game aspect that made that game good. It was the story writing that made it good. And in a VTT, you don't have any story writing. So they got stuck in this hard place where it's like you could do all this setup with this VTT and make it work, and it integrates and all that kind of stuff. But why is it better than the existing VTTs is the question. And on top of that, all the COVID people who are playing online eventually died down to some degree as well. And I think it all kind of culminated in this them just basically dropping it because they realized their whole digital play was not working, especially with their latest books and stuff. They're probably going to put it on hold for 10 years and then come out with a new D&D.
Well, the thing is also there was, but the thing wasn't going to become the microtransaction machine they were hoping for because because they, I actually talked to some insiders in the industry, and there was a point with D&D Beyond where they were actually losing 100,000 subscribers a week. The plummet was really and I think it leveled off to 50,000 a week, but it's like the drop was really bad, and they didn't get him back, right? Like it didn't. But also another commentary I had heard, which I think might be Professor Dungeon Master who said this, but like I might have that wrong, but like these people were discovering Baldur's Gate, and that was their entry. For a lot of people, was their entry into D&D, and then they see the virtual tabletop, and it's night and day, and it's like, what's this shit? It's like they're true. I mean, it's not the same experience, and like you're totally in love with like my wife is trying to get me to draw some art for the show of the characters from Baldur's Gate, and it's like apparently all these girls are coming up and asking for art of the guys, like but like that's their experience, right? So people love these characters, but it doesn't translate over because it's theater of the mind. Like
that's my point. Is they think they're going to get Baldur's Gate 3. Yep, and instead they get VTT, and they're like, "What? This isn't what I wanted."
Well, exactly. Like RPGs, no matter what technology or props you bring to the table, it still boils down ultimately to theater of the mind. And so
you can't make your miniatures in your underwear.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
What?
Exactly. So.
Oh, you walk around in your underwear in Baldur's Gate 3, don't you?
Can't you?
You can take off more than the underwear.
Yeah, you can do more actually. So it's very awkward. You multi-game and someone tries that and it's just like, what? This is weird.
It's very obviously European.
Well, but because this whole thing is very fascinating to me because it failed and it failed spectacularly, and I was like, hearing these commentators talk about, it's like, no, it's going to be like it is going to destroy it. Like, this is going to be the new thing. Like, GMs are dead, whatever. All these opinions, and I'm like, no, we're not. and I ended up being right, which I find interesting. But like it's just it completely crashed and burnt. And
I'll just remind everyone, we are now like 20 months in to AI replacing all of our jobs in 3 months.
Yeah.
In other words, it's not going to do anytime soon.
Well, I there's this billboard on the way to work. No, it's not. It's it's past work, but like this billboard you see on the side of the road, it says, don't hire humans, hire AI employees. I'm like, good God, the AI cannot,
doesn't work the way they think it does.
Yeah. That people keep it in check, or it goes crazy. It does stuff.
Yeah. And my favorite thing, by the way, there's a meme with the programming AI, the main one, and whatever you tell, it doesn't matter. It says, you're absolutely right. And then it'll be like, you're absolutely right. Let me look. No, that isn't how it works at all. You're absolutely right. It doesn't, you're completely wrong. Like, it always starts with, you're absolutely right. It's like so dumb.
Yeah.
Well,
it's still very useful. Don't get me wrong.
Well, I've heard of these things rewriting, like basically churning out lies because they're trying to make the user be happy with them.
Yeah, they hallucinate a lot.
They hallucinate a lot.
Yeah. There's a ways to get around it with programming, but if in 10 years the only thing AI is good for is programming, it's probably a failure. So
I think it can be a good assistant. Yeah. So not the creator.
Well, I mean, what we're creating is the foundational technology of the holodeck from Star Trek, but like that's centuries away from being what Star Trek is.
Yeah, I mean, look how often people get killed doing that. I mean, you got to be careful.
Yeah, no, right? When the safety protocols get disengaged somehow.
Yeah. So, I
don't think human DMs are going anywhere. I think that's what we're saying right now, and I think Hasbro is out of touch. Probably because they never have really done role-play games. I don't think they understand what people want as role-play games. Because, like, for example, this is a different thing, but I feel like their adventure books are just like, why do they have to be these thick, super long things? Like, there's a lot of companies that are just pumping out small books that are very digestible and lots of fun. Why can't Hasbro, with all their money, do something like that?
Well, I don't have it handy. Yeah, like I put out a monster manual. It's 60 pages. That's it.
Yeah, because like Dungeon Crawl Classics, they have a gazillion books out. Paizo is always having a new adventure book every month, pretty much.
This is way off topic, but I think the moral of the story is when you need someone to lead a department, make sure they're actually interested in the game that they're leading. Because their whole executive staff said explicitly they don't need to know. No, they don't need to play D&D. They don't like it. That should be a warning sign.
The guy that was in charge of the VTT project, they hired a video game guy, and he didn't think he needed to understand anything but video games.
Totally different than a video game.
Yeah, and they hired a guy who just did microtransactions on Xbox and stuff. It was dumb.
Yeah. I think we got a good episode here.
Okie dokie. All right, well, let us know what you guys think about it. Why did it not work out? What do you think of VTT? Do you like VTTs? Suggest some VTTs. Do you ever experiment with AIs? Or do you hate AIs? Whatever, Are you an AI? Let us know in the comments.
Do erotic role-playing with AI.
Did you ever convince AI to kill humanity?
Just let us know. Make it a conversation. Don't forget, subscribe. We got a playlist of this show and others. Check them out so we can grow the channel and stuff. And we know you guys are watching. All right. Well, thanks everybody. And until next time, goodbye. And
playing Hasbro.
And may the AI overlords look kindly upon us.
Oh, yes.
When the dice roll high, we touch the sky. But when they crash, it's a belly laugh. Genre